the NBA Finals. Game 3, Miami. After splitting the first 2 games in Denver, the series shifted to South Beach in the first half. It was a close game throughout. But in the second half, Nikola Jokic and Denver took control in Game 3. Jokic made NBA Finals history as he became the first player to have a 30, 20, 10 game. In the same game, Jamal Murray had a triple-double of his own. Denver beat Miami by double figures. In Game 4, for 3.5 quarters, it was a close game. But in the fourth quarter, Jokic, Murray, and the rest of Denver's supporting cast took full command of the fourth quarter for a second time, beating Miami by double figures. Game 5 in Denver on Monday night. With their backs against the wall, down 3-1. Jimmy Butler and Miami would not go down without a fight. This game was a hard-fought defensive battle, but in the end, Denver beat Miami in a close one to clinch its first NBA championship. Congratulations to the Denver Nuggets for winning their first NBA title. Also tonight, our very own HiJacker Mike and his friends in Oakland pack the Coliseum. Sell the team. Keep the team in California. John Fisher and Dave Cavill. All of us here on the sports show support the Oakland A's all day. It's showtime.
From the gridiron to the court, talking all that is sport, breaking down the latest news, scores, and more. Welcome to our Nation Sports Show.
All right, let's go, folks. We are live. It is a Tuesday, and you know what that means? Our Nation Sports Show is back. What's going on, everybody? It is Ezra here, and I am glad to be back in the host chair after a little bout with illness last week. Fortunately, a little, sinuses and all that stupid stuff, can get to you, especially during this summertime. But hey, I'm here. We're here. We're ready to toss the sports, and we got a good show to talk about. We got to talk about everything from the NBA Finals, Major League Baseball, the retirement of a UFC legend. We're going to get into a little bit of that and the Oakland A's thing. And who knows? We might have our boy HiJacker Mike stop by for a couple quick visits, as tonight he will be in the Oakland Coliseum for that big stand against the Oakland A's owner during tonight's game. And we'll get into more of that in just a little bit. But first, of course, we got to go through the whole spiel of how you can join us and how you can interact with us. Of course, you can interact with us here on the YouTube at youtube.com/OurNationSportsShow. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Please tell everyone about it. We love to hit a bigger number of subscribers, which will hopefully eventually will get us monetized. Don't forget also to follow the Twitter at Owen_Sports Facebook.com/OurNationSportsShow, and Instagram.com/OurNationSportsShow. It's going to be a very, very interesting show today. And of course, don't forget to follow my crew at 2 Sweet Cosplay across all socials. No events coming up. I will be, though, representing both 2 Sweet Cosplay and the Nation's Corner this weekend and Wednesday night of next week. When on Saturday night, I will be in the United Center for the debut episode of AEW Collision, which, of course, the main event, Switchblade Jay White, the ROH TV champion Samoa Joe, and Rock Hard Juice Robinson takes on the team of CM Punk and the AEW World Tag Champs FTR. And then Wednesday, I will be at the final Dynamite before Forbidden Door, once again in Chicago at the Wintrust Arena. And this one is going to be huge because who knows what could happen with Forbidden Door just around the corner. So can't wait to be there. Can't wait to represent both TSC and the Nation's Corner. And speaking of the Nation's Corner, you can find them at the Nation's Corner across the socials. Look them up. And don't forget, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. It's going to be a great show. And of course, we're going to have some stories from Mission Pro Wrestling's True Colors, which took place last weekend. And of course, the big news that came out of that a wrestling fan now turned wrestler, Izzy Moreno, will make her debut at the next Mission Pro Wrestling event, Boiling Point, on August 12th. We cannot wait for that, and we'll definitely get into that more on the Nation's Corner coming up this Saturday. Once again, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on youtube.com/Nation's Corner. Now that I got all that out of the way, let's go ahead and introduce my fellow compadres for tonight's show. And joining us tonight, in the absence of our buddy Kevin Rory, who's dealing with some health problems, tonight is our good buddy JT, the one, the only Joey Thornton. What's up, brother?
What is going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having an amazing Tuesday night. Man, what a wild NBA Finals it was. We got a lot to talk about, but I was saving this for this big announcement for the show. There may be just a couple more times that I miss a show, but as of tonight, your boy is back full time. Let's roll.
Yes. Absolutely. It's good to have you back full time, brother. Can't wait to do this every week with you once again. And hopefully soon we'll have the same thing with our boy Randy. By the way, shout out to Randy Gyron and William Gyron as well. We miss you guys. We miss you, Randy. Hopefully you're doing well, and we'll hopefully hear from you soon, brother. But we got to get to the patriarch of this show. Without him, as I always say, this show would not be possible. He is my heavy metal brother from North Carolina. The man who is practicing himself possibly into a new band. A man who's taken more drum lessons than Lars Ulrich has in his entire life. The one, the only, big Stevie Cool, in my opinion, Stevie Wyand. What's up, brother?
Oh, look at that, a little ECW reference. I absolutely love that.
And just like the BWO,
we're taking over
for ya.
Yes.
Taking over.
Man, it's been a hell of a week in the sports world. And last week, that was honestly one of my favorite episodes of this sports show with HiJacker, with Gabriel, with Hal, and with Boss, giving their honest, true thoughts and just crushing John Fisher and Dave Cavill, the owner and president of the Oakland Athletics, respectively. And the NBA Finals is done and over. It was a competitive 5-game series, even though it went 5 games. But we will be getting to that right now, and plus some news in the NFL. And with that being said, let's do this.
Absolutely, man. Let's get right into it. Let's not waste no time. Let's talk about the NBA Finals. You referenced Game 3 and of course, last night, Game 4. And what a Game 4 was, man. The Heat led by as many as 7 points to half. But when it came down to it, Denver pulled it out. Denver wanted it more on their home turf, and they took that Bill O'Brien trophy home with them. And now Denver, for the first time ever in their franchise's history, are NBA champions. And dude, just what a great moment it was. What a great game. That last 3 minutes was just back and forth action, shot after shot, just bouncing shots back and forth. It was personally one of my, from what I saw, especially that last 3-4 minutes, it was probably one of my favorite last few minutes of a game I've ever seen. And that's saying a lot. And, you know, hats off to Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, the whole crew there. They did an awesome job. And, you know, we can't fault them too much. They did what they could. But in the end, Denver wanted it more. They had more drive, more intensity. They came in just ready to destroy, and that's exactly what they did. And it's And there's one guy I want to throw out on the Denver team that is shout out to Jeff Green. Jeff Green, who has been a journeyman, 16 seasons in the league, played with every team you could think of. The Sonics, who became the Thunder. He's played with the Cavaliers, the Wizards. Dude, I could go on and on, but that man finally now is able to have that trophy in his living room and is able to say, I'm an NBA champion. And Jamal Murray, who I thought was one of the big stars of this entire series and was just having major, major numbers. He got so emotional after the game, and he has every right to do so. Just what a performance from him this entire series and this entire NBA playoffs from him. He became one of the guys who helped pull some of the weight off of Jokic's shoulders, because the man, like I say, one man can't do it all. And those players were well balanced. They came in and they just dominated. And Jamal Murray, as a matter of fact, he becomes only the fourth player in the finals history to have 20 plus points per rebound and 20 plus points per game and 10 plus assists per game. The only other two are Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, and LeBron. So that's saying something. And Luka had a double-double in his finals averages. So I think he had 31.7 points per game in like over 10 point something rebounds per game. Just what an epic performance by Luka, or by Jokic, and just an impressive series by Denver.
You know what's very crazy is the fact that if he would have had at least 14 to 16 assists last night, Nikola Jokic would have averaged a triple-double in these finals. Like that would have been crazy. But 31 points a game.
Steven, real quick, here it is. I got the actual numbers.
Yep.
First of all, Jokic and Murray are the first pair of teammates in NBA history to average 25 plus points, 5 plus rebounds, and 5 assists for an entire postseason. They're right at 30 points per game, 13.5 rebounds per game, and 9.5 assists per game for Jokic. Murray, 26.1, 5.7, and 7.1.
Wow, that's crazy. Like that's why I've always said that this Denver team reminds me of those great Spurs teams, because you have a guy like Jokic and Murray, a dynamic duo who are deadly, who can play off of one another, who know their strengths and their weaknesses and know how to use their strengths together to combine as one. I mean, when Murray is hot, if he can get his 3-point jump shot going, like he's like a flamethrower. He's on fire, and just keep feeding him the ball, and Jokic is the same way. I mean, Jokic, for his size, 7 foot tall, and passing the ball like a Magic Johnson, to have those crisp passes that he can drive to the paint. I mean, he is such a gifted big man. I mean, he has single-handedly changed the game for centers, because now you're going to see players in college and high school that are going to try to emulate their game just like Joker does. I mean, because we know Stephen Curry changed the NBA as far as like 3-point shooting and, just shooting crazy threes, from way behind the 3-point line. I think that you're going to start seeing these big dudes in college and in high school and even middle school. You're going to start seeing kids just trying to get their game just as good as Joker. I mean, and what's crazy is Jokic every single year, he's gotten better and better and better and better. And now, since his first MVP season in 2019-20, now look what he's done. He's won a championship.
Yeah.
He's won a championship. And everybody was, everybody from Kendrick Perkins And everybody out there in the media world that doubted this man and that doubted this Denver team that didn't take him seriously, well, now you have to, because the championship is theirs forever, because there's no taking this title away from the Denver Nuggets.
No.
And it's crazy to say the Denver Nuggets are NBA champions. Like, it's just insane to even saying that, because all the great Denver teams that have come and gone, they never got to this point because of the stiff competition that they faced. Like those great Carmelo teams that only went to one conference finals that met the great Kobe Bryant and the Lakers, and they lost in 6 games. And before this year, Denver lost to LA in every single playoff series. They never beat the Lakers in a playoff series. Well, the tides have turned. The guard has changed in the NBA, and Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Michael Malone as their head coach, they deserve every ounce of praise today. And from everybody out there in the major markets, put some respect on this Denver team, because if they can stay healthy, they could be dangerous for years to come and win more than one title.
Yeah, definitely. Real quick before Joey gives his points, I want to point out a couple things. First of all, here's the stats for Jokic in his first trip to the finals. This comes straight from NBA itself. 30.2 points per game, 14 rebounds per game, and 7.2 assists per game. Those are historic numbers for a guy who literally it's his first time in the playoffs. That's insane. And then also I was looking at someone, I think I just lost it maybe, but then again I've lost it a long time ago, but I digress. Here it is. I think I just found it if I'm not mistaken. No, go ahead, Joey. You go ahead and give your points while I look up this information, will you?
So, we were talking about the finals last week.
Yeah.
The Heat had just won Game 2 to tie this series up at 1. And everybody was like, well, we were all like, okay, this is really going to be a very competitive series now. Because the Heat won a game in Denver. They're fixing to go home in Miami for the next 2 games. I'm sure it'll take one of those next 2 or even both games and put the pressure back on Denver. Well, Denver was like, nah, we had a long way from the Western Conference Finals to the NBA Finals, and we are not going to let this series go 7 games if we can help it. And that's exactly what they did. I mean, taking both games in Miami and winning that hard-fought Game 5 last night. And if there is one player that I am just awestruck over based on his performance in the NBA Finals, it's not Nikola Jokic, even though he is a very, very close runner-up. But my player that I was very impressed with was definitely Jamal Murray. I mean, Jamal Murray, he came in to the NBA Finals for, I'm thinking this was his first time in the NBA Finals also, if I'm not mistaken, because
it is.
he was back he was back on a Denver Nuggets team back in 2020 when he tore his ACL and couldn't even play in the playoffs.
Yep.
Well, this year he was like, this is my first trip to the NBA Finals. I'm back from that torn ACL that hindered me a few years back. I'm not going to let that ACL affect me no more. I'm going to go out and play the best game or have the best time of my life and hopefully make a few memories that will last a lifetime. And seeing him get all emotional and teary-eyed on the court last night, he made his wish come true. And he wasn't one of those players that just let other players take over and him try to embrace the spotlight. He actually went out and played like a true NBA champion needs to play. I mean, Jamal Murray, in my eyes, he proved that with this amazing finals performance, he has proven what I've kept in the back of my mind going into this entire postseason, that Jamal Murray is definitely a top 5 guard in today's game.
Yeah.
Definitely a top 5 guard, hands down. I mean, he can make plays when he needs to. He can shoot the ball from all different sorts of angles. He can score at will. He can rebound. He can pass. I mean, the dude's just an elite playmaker. I mean, there's no more underestimating Jamal Murray. And there's definitely no underestimating players like Nikola Jokic, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who made that amazing defensive play on Jimmy Butler right there at the end of last night's game, and
Michael Porter
Aaron
Jr.
Gordon and all these other amazing players who just really came together. And how many franchises can say that they won their first world championship in their first trip in a finals series?
You also
Not very many can say that.
No, not many at all, Joey.
Not very many can say that. So for Denver to not only go to their first NBA Finals, but actually win the NBA Finals in their very first appearance, that is purely dynamic. That just shows how amazing that team chemistry was for not only in the regular season, but for the postseason. Michael Malone knew what he was telling his players. He knew what his team was doing. So I have tons of respect for that Denver Nuggets franchise. And there was no doubt in my mind that going into the offseason and going into next season, that Denver is not going to sit down easily. They're going to fight to keep the NBA Finals trophy in Denver come next season.
Dude, and I want to give a shout out to another player who really had a great game, and that was Michael Porter Jr.
Yes,
points,
Michael
13,
Porter Jr. Absolutely.
16 points, 13 rebounds. And little fun fact about Jamal Murray, since we're on that topic, Jamal Murray is the highest when it comes to points per game in the playoffs or in the finals. He is the I believe he is the ultimate Canadian. He's the first Canadian for 26.1 points. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nation Night Fight Zone and the man who is there to tell his owner to fuck off in the best way possible. My man, HJM HiJacker Mike. What is up, brother?
What
is up, HiJacker?
What up, bro? What up?
Coliseum live with Cell shirts. Y'all, we are live on Our Nation Sports Show. This is the homie Rally Lamb here wearing the Cell shirt, y'all. We are here live in the parking lot of the Coliseum. Here, let me spin this around so y'all can see what I'm talking about here.
We're getting 20,000 here tonight.
20,000 plus. Look at this, y'all.
Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Hell yeah. Check it out.
Too sweet, me good brother.
We got news media here and everybody, man. We are live. So I just wanted to do a quick check-in with y'all to get y'all a taste of what's going on out here. It's crazy, man. 27,000 plus fans, and we still have more gonna walk up into the Coliseum. Sell shirts, we have 7,000, the first ever fan-funded giveaway.
Nice.
That's amazing shit, man.
It is crazy, y'all. They got signs.
I really hope your message gets across, man, and change does come. I really do.
Definitely, guys. Definitely.
Yeah, and I'm sure that you guys are in definite high spirits right now after winning 6 games in a row, including a beating on the Tampa Bay Rays last night. I'm sure.
Good to see y'all too. See, they got the shirts here.
Yes.
Away, we got news media. It's going down, y'all. What's up, Anderson?
Yes,
this is a sports show here that I run with, Our Nation Sports Show.
What up, bro?
Person that's helped run it
What
right
up,
here
big dog?
on the Our Nation Sports Show right now. Tell them a little bit about what the Oakland 68's got going with the show here.
Oakland 68's, man, we're out here, right field, left field bleachers. Not just bleachers, man, just people who actually care about the A's, the city of Oakland, the community, and the whole movement, man. We're out here on a Tuesday. It is cracking out here. It's so lit. What time is it right now? Like live time lit. 4:24 Pacific Standard Time. You should be at work, but there's a few hundred people out here right now. Have a good time. No matter what happens in Nevada, ain't over till the shovel's on the ground. It's just good vibes, man. Like, just come through, support us.
That's right.
If you're not here, I don't know what to tell you, man. It's one of the best nuggets we've had in years.
That's what it is. What's up, Gabe?
Good.
You guys remember this face right here? He was on with us last
Oh,
week.
heck
What up,
yeah, what's
Gabriel?
up, Gabe?
What up, bro?
What's
What up,
good?
man?
What's
What's
going
good?
on, big man?
What's up, dude?
What's good, y'all? Nice to see y'all.
Yeah, good to
Wish
see
y'all
you,
were here.
brother.
Yep. So we're here supporting the cause. So we're just doing our thing, guys.
Yes, sir.
So I'm gonna go ahead and sign off for now, but I'll log back in with y'all shortly when I get another section up here.
Sure,
All
buddy.
right, brother. All good,
right.
man.
Buddy.
Yep.
All right, guys.
Yep.
All right, man.
Peace out, HiJacker.
Yo,
Man.
that's
This
awesome.
movement is alive.
Check-
Yes.
Crazy,
Check out that fan base. Wow.
dude.
20,000. That is just incredible.
See, this is the stuff that we live
Absolutely
for with
incredible.
doing this show, ladies and gentlemen. This is the stuff we live for, live on site of some big, whether it's a game, whether it's a fun event like this. This is to make change. This is to get the ownership to do it. It's to sell and get the fuck out. And that's exactly what they're there to do. And you know what? With HiJacker and whoever else is leading the charge, it will happen. It could happen. So, dude, all the best to HiJacker and the crew, and I hope they get that message across. And hopefully, and we'll check with him shortly when he pops back on. But that's just amazing, man. That's just amazing. This is why I love doing this show, because of moments like this. And know
Yeah.
that was not an intentional Kelly Clarkson reference. Okay, now it is.
Nice.
All right, we were discussing the NBA Finals, and we were talking about Jamal Murray's performance. I said before that he is the highest scoring Canadian player in Finals history. So
Nice.
that's to say a lot. Oh, I didn't realize Mr. Steven was drafting a tweet for the show. Thank you for actually doing the actual promotion. Thank you.
Yep.
But yeah, so I mean, I got and like I said, we got to give credit to the Miami Heat. They unfortunately they lost 3 games to 1, but they didn't go down without a fight. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, that whole team came in there, and they unfortunately there was Kyle Lowry had mixed results, and just like we say, there's only one. You can't have 1 or 2 guys just controlling everything. Everybody's got to produce, and unfortunately, that's what happened with Miami. So,
Well, I will say, though, a huge win came from Miami last night, and that was the fact that Mr. Tyler Hero was able to play in Game 5. He may not have played a lot, but he was still out there suffering a broken hand back in their first-round series against Milwaukee. So, kudos to Tyler Hero for making an appearance last night during Game 5.
I mean, when you look at the way that
Absolutely.
the way that Hero, was able to actually come back and play it, play in this game, like that just shows you the competitive spirit that he has. And I hope that Miami can get their core back, this upcoming year. Because I mean, let's be honest, if they didn't have Hero or Oladipo out with these injuries, they would have had a higher seeding, in these playoffs.
Yeah.
hey, one thing I wanted to bring in. You talk about special guests. We've had HiJacker Mike already. You know what? Let's do an early appearance from our good friend Toothless Stone Cold. Toothless Stone Cold, what do you think of HiJacker popping in and doing this thing? Well, let me tell you, that HiJacker guy, he's a real good son of a bitch. He come in there doing the right thing, making the calls. That's what Stone Cold did back in the day. What?
Oh my God.
Thank you, Toothless Stone Cold. Now back to the original program. But
Oh Lord.
look, guys, it's just as far as the finals. Yes, the way it is. This was a super competitive, just NBA tournament all around. A lot of shocks, a lot of surprises, and you know what? Nobody does basketball better than the National Basketball Association, and that's without saying anything else. Just bravo, hell of a season, and I can't wait to see what happens with the draft. I can't wait to see what happens to. And by the way, speaking of the draft, I was hearing reports from kind of rumors, and we usually don't go into the rumor mill, but I was hearing something. I think it was either the NFL or the NBA draft. No, the NBA draft may be moving to ABC next year.
Woo! I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah, there's a rumor going around that that it may be leaving ESPN and moving to ABC for a primetime slot. Which would make sense if you want to increase the viewership of it. You put it on a primetime network that everybody has access to, regardless of what they have, whether it be a broadband signal, whether it be Sling, whether it be, freaking digital cable converters or whatever, or regular cable or dish. It just allows more eyes to get on the draft if you don't have, let's say you don't have a package with ESPN on it. So
yeah, but I do want to correct something real quick. Tyler Hero, he actually did not play in the game last night. He was deemed available, but he still sat out.
It's the same way it was with Game 3. The original report was that he said he didn't want to mess up the team dynamic. That's the reason why he didn't want to play.
Well, that means he's got the whole offseason to get that hand ready for action come next season.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll have Tyler Hero back, and that'll add some much needed help to the Miami offense. There's only Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler can do everything themselves, and Vincent too. But
absolutely, because when you look at this finals, especially last night, like even though this was only a 5-game series, I mean, it was a very competitive series. And last night, like there was no quit in this Miami team. Like even though they were down 3-1, they still had a shot in the dark to send us back to a Game 6 on Thursday. They were a couple of plays away, possibly from stealing this game. And I mean, when Butler caught fire, when that, last night, and in previous games like 3 and 4, he couldn't find a shot, and I mean, when you look at this series overall, I mean, let's not to mention in Game 3, Nikola Jokic made NBA Finals history as he became the first player to have a 30-20-10 game. And in the same game, Jamal Murray had a triple-double as well. I mean, and then in Game 4, I mean, it was just back and forth. There was at one point, Miami had to lead down to 5. And Jokic was in foul trouble, and he couldn't stay on the court very much. And he did have an ankle injury a little bit, during the game. But Jokic still was very competitive out there and still played pretty well in Game 4, and made big plays when it mattered the most. But the role players in this series for Denver especially were very critical when it mattered the most. I mean, Kadavius Caldwell-Pope and Bruce Brown and Aaron Gordon. I mean, those 3 players alone were very critical pieces. And even though Michael Porter Jr. did not have a great overall shooting percentage-wise, he still made plays when it mattered the most. Jeff Green, like you said, Ezra, finally got that ring. But Jeff Green may not have been the huge, role player that he was, 10, 12 years ago with the Thunder and stuff. He still made a lot of plays.
Yeah, sure did.
Yes, sure did. Sorry, I was just posting something on our Discord to let everyone know we are live as well. I just wanted to make sure that was done. Real quick before we go, or not before we go, but before we move on to other things, of course, definitely want to some funny things, of course, that happened during the celebration, as it always does. Jokic dragged Murray into one of the pools, in one of the wave pools in the back of the stadium, and dragged him into the water. And also, funny comment from Jokic when they asked him, "Are you excited for the team parade coming up?" He goes, "No, I want to go home."
You know what? And what I love about Jokic is even Stephen A. Smith last night said on ESPN, he said, dude, even though Jokic just won his first championship, they don't just want one. They want more. They want another championship. I mean, that is the laser sharp focus that this young man has. I mean, like this Denver team is just a complete package. I mean, Bruce Brown making plays, Jeff Green making plays, Kadavius Caldwell-Pope making plays, Aaron Gordon making plays, Michael Porter Jr., at times can be a dominant scorer for this team. You don't know who's going to be the X factor in these games because it could be any of these guys. I mean, Murray and Jokic are going to get their buckets, but everybody else plays with them complete, unity. It's a complete unity. These guys are down for each other. I mean, this is a competitive, complete team that plays as one. And that is what the NBA, honestly, since Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday and Milwaukee did it, 3 years ago. Now you have Denver won a championship. I think the parity is slowly but surely coming back into the NBA, and how it's a proven fact that you don't need a super team to win a championship. You can have 2 star players and a bunch of role players that play as a team. And that is what that Milwaukee team in 21 did, and this Denver team did this year. These 2 teams proved to the entire National Basketball Association world that you can have 2 great players and a cast of characters that can combine as one team and play for each other every single play. And when the going got tough, especially in these playoffs at times, Denver did not break. They kept playing. They kept plugging and playing, trial and error. And the competitiveness. I mean, and shout outs to Michael Malone. This guy could have been fired, 3 years into his head coaching career with Denver because of the simple fact that in 2017-18, they missed the playoffs by 1 game against the 8-seeded Minnesota Timberwolves in a win-or-all, take-it-all game when you're in. And they could have, Kroenke and the rest of the staff could have fired him, but they didn't. They believed in him. And hey, if you can get enough key pieces around Murray, around Jokic, you can be here. And you know what? When they got to the Western Conference Finals in the Mickey Mouse bubble in 2020, I truly believe that their time at that time, they weren't ready. They would have lost probably in the finals. But all of that, all of the ups and the downs, and Jamal Murray, questioning himself and walking through that fire and doing what he had to do to get to where he needed to be, it made him an even better player for the moment, for the biggest moment of his life. And that's the biggest stage of them all in the NBA Finals. And the pressure did not faze Murray. And it sure as hell did not faze Jokic. I mean, these 2 guys, they want more championships. They're not just satisfied for one, because that's the problem with some teams is, oh, you get that one, you're fine. Oh, yeah, we got a championship, we're fine. No. If you truly want to be considered one of the greatest dynasties or greatest players in the NBA, you want more than 1 championship ring. And if they can get that second championship title, I'm telling you what, this Denver team could be a dynasty if they can stay healthy, because that's the key. If Jokic can stay healthy, if Murray can stay healthy, if Porter Jr. can stay healthy, if they can keep a lot of these supporting cast, guys, and Caldwell Pope and Gordon, and, just they're a deadly team. And, and on the other side, Miami is no slouches either. I mean, you got Max Strus and Duncan Robinson. I mean, those are two young, talented players that have a lot of game left to play. Gabe Vincent as well. I mean, this Miami team, if Hero is healthy, if Oladipo is healthy, if Butler was more consistent, shout outs to Bam Adebayo. I mean, Bam Adebayo played his ass off in these finals.
Well, obviously, Steven, I think the reason why Jimmy was so inconsistent because he was battling a leg injury throughout this whole entire series,
right?
Including the previous series beforehand. You could tell he was in that last game or so. He was severely gun shy. Shooting. Remember in the last series, who did they play in the last series?
The Celtics in that 7-game series. He was. Yeah, you're right. He was a little gun shy in that series. Yep.
Yeah. Game 4 and Game 5, you could tell he was not shooting and moving the way he was supposed to be. He was battling. I think what they said it was a knee injury or a quad injury or something. He was battling or a hamstring. He was battling something. I got a funny thing, Steven, also too. Another funny moment from last night. Aaron Gordon actually went out into the streets of Denver, outside the stadium, and partied with the fans for a few minutes.
Nice.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I mean, dude, it's so awesome. It's so surreal to even saying that sentence, that statement. The Denver Nuggets are NBA champions. I mean, it doesn't even seem real, but it is. I mean, they finally got over the hump. Yep. And all of the fans that have been there, since day one, they've had the same announcers, the same PA announcer all this time for quite some time. They've been here with this team and been a fan of this team for all the ups and downs. And it's surreal. I mean, I am so happy for this team. So happy for this organization, so happy for this fan base that has been there through all the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations. And now the Denver Nuggets will obviously be solidified, immortalized forever as NBA world champions.
Also, real quick, I want to give another shout out to another player on the team, Christian Braun, who in his first season is an NBA champion and last year won the NCAA championship.
Isn't
that crazy? I mean, Christian Braun made some critical plays in these finals. I mean, he came in like a bolt of lightning, just like, wait, where did he come from? I mean, in Game 3, he was making these big time shots, and every time Miami got close, he would just bury them with 3 after 3 and 2-pointer after 2-pointer, just getting into the paint, and creating shots. I'm like, this is why this Denver team is so hard to defend, because you don't know, besides Jokic or Murray, who's going to show up and be, lethal.
Lethal injection. Oh, wait, sorry, wrong show. I started having Ring of Honor flashbacks.
And this is my thing as far as Miami last night. Jeff Van Gundy hit this on the head. I mean, Max Strus and Duncan Robinson, you can tell the stress, the tension was getting to them because they were having to take a lot of these shots because of Butler, not being as aggressive, and the pressure was just getting to them. And like, they were hesitating at times and just not firing, the shot, when it was there, and just hesitating. And I mean, Kevin can attest to this because he's a former athlete, but Kevin knows this very well, that if you hesitate when you're taking a shot, more than likely 9 times out of 10 you're going to miss the shot. And Max Strus was just up and down in these finals and in these playoffs. He wasn't that great. But he did have his moments, and Duncan Robinson had his moments too, especially in Game 2 in these finals. I mean, this Miami team, they have nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, again, all of us on this show, the media didn't pick them. The only team that picked them was themselves. They believed in themselves that they have a core group that can make it to these finals, and they did. But if they're going to win a championship, they're going to have to stay the course and stay healthy.
I believe it. And I also want to give another shout out to a player who also was able to get his first NBA championship last night. I just now happened to see this on Facebook just now. But Denver Nuggets player Ish Smith was able to finally get his NBA championship ring. He's been in the league since 2010 when he started playing for the Houston Rockets. And let me see, he's played for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different teams. And he is finally able to get his NBA championship. So, congratulations, Mr. Ish Smith.
And also DeAndre Jordan.
DeAndre Jordan, yes, he did. He got, yes, he did. Even though he didn't play much, if at all, in this series, it still counts. He got an NBA championship ring.
Yep.
But yeah, you can't deny what this Denver Nuggets team did, and you got to give a big shout out to this Miami Heat squad because nobody gave them a chance in the playoffs. Nobody. So yeah, they may have lost the series in 5 games, but they have nothing to be. They went out and fought just about every single game. So Eric Spoelstra, he's still an amazing coach. So there's no doubt in my mind that Miami, along with Spoelstra's leadership, is going to be back in the NBA playoffs. More than likely at a higher seed next year, since hopefully they'll have Tyler Hero back for the whole season.
And not only that, but Spoelstra is a class act. I mean, just congratulating Denver and saying that they were the better team. And he's absolutely right when he said in his post-game press conference last night that, you know what? I told them, and I quote, it's just, it wasn't our year and it's not your time yet, and I mean, there will come a time when Butler wins a championship, maybe, but it's really tough to get back to these finals because
Absolutely.
I mean, Butler,
because go ahead, Steven.
Butler has already been to 2 finals and he's 0-2, but he just, in both of these finals, he just hasn't had the help, and doesn't have the strength, with the players around him, going down with injuries this year. I mean, I honestly think that if they would have went to the finals last year, they would have been a pesky team against Golden State. They would have given Golden State a run for their money. Go ahead, Joey.
Well, I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, well.
Awkward moment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Nah. But yeah, you can't really underestimate this Miami Heat squad, and you can't underestimate this Denver Nuggets team. I mean, both teams played their absolute hearts out, and there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to see both of them back in the NBA Finals, possibly against each other, come next year.
Yep. And that's pretty much all I have for the NBA. If you guys have any other things you want to discuss real quick before we move on.
Oh, real quick as well. This came down this morning. Unfortunately, in Denver last night, there was a shooting.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
10 people, unfortunately, got shot, including a suspect.
Yeah, but thankfully, everybody's going to be okay.
Yeah, from what I heard, everybody's going to be okay. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Shit like that has to happen. But send well wishes to everybody who got injured. Hope for the best of recovery. And, it's unfortunate shit like that has to happen when it's a celebration like that. But what happens when you combine, whether it be alcohol, whether it be just people acting dumb and somebody gets pissed off and pulls out a gun. It's we could go into a whole dissertation about that for the next 25 minutes about all this stuff, but I mean, to keep it short and sweet, we just want to make sure that everybody who was involved in that is okay. Hopefully the suspect gets what he deserves, and just everybody gets out of the hospital and goes home and gets to celebrate at home.
Yep.
Yep.
And by the way,
But I guess
yeah, go ahead, Joey. Sorry.
I was gonna say, but I guess now we can switch gears to another Florida team that finds itself also down 3-1
That's where I was
heading
going
into
to
their
next,
game
man.
5 tonight.
Nice segue.
Yes,
Yep.
sir. The Vegas Golden Knights versus the Florida Panthers. It is game 5. And tonight the Golden Knights
From
can seal it.
Vegas.
Yep, the Golden Knights can seal it at home tonight, if possible.
But Florida is not going to go down without a fight.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
Oh,
in hockey,
Even though
anything can happen.
Even though I've heard that I'm sure he's still going to play tonight, but Matthew Kachuk, of this morning, was announced as a game time decision, but I'm pretty sure he's going to play tonight.
Yeah. They're just saying. They're saying there's still no update. Yeah, game time decision is a wonderful out for all of you reporters, but that's when I will share the decision. That's according to the head coach, Paul Maurice. So
That game 4 was
I'm
crazy.
pretty sure he's going to play though.
Oh yeah.
Those last 2 games in Florida were just absolutely crazy. I mean, game 3, Vegas was up 2-1, and then Florida just came out of nowhere, just tied the game, and then they won the game on one of the most craziest finishes ever. They tied the game.
Yeah.
Then the game into
4,
overtime.
right there at the end. I mean, even if that shot would have gone in, it wouldn't have counted because the clock showed all zeros. So
yeah. And then in game 3, you had the one shot that hit the camera. The camera blocked the shot, and then he rebounds the puck and scores anyways. And game goes in overtime. Florida pulls it out, and then in game 4, Florida had their chances. They had their chances, and even after the shot was just remarkably missed, we had a fight, afterwards, and that's how you know the intensity.
Including the goaltender getting involved.
Yes, that's the madness of hockey, and that's why you can't go wrong with playoff hockey, because you truly don't know what's going to happen. Anything can happen. We would have thought there was going to be a melee for the next 15, 20 minutes because it was just that intense, but the refs pulled them off and stuff. But
yeah,
my God, hats off to Vegas. They're up 3-1, but the job ain't done. And the Florida Panthers are not going to go down without a fight. Because if they can win tonight.
Florida's going to do everything they can to take the series back to Florida for game 6.
Yep. You get that game back to
they're
game
going
6.
To try everything they can.
Anything can happen if you get that game back to Florida. That's like if Miami would have won last night, and they almost did. If Miami would have beat Denver last night, who knows what would have happened on Thursday?
Oh, yeah, especially with Miami back on their home floor for game 6.
Oh, yeah. And if Florida can reverse that effect and they can beat Vegas on the road again, who knows?
And see, and technically, unlike the Miami Heat, we've seen Florida in a 3-1 deficit before.
Yes, against the Boston Bruins,
against the Boston Bruins, and they came back to beat them. So who knows? We could see history repeat itself starting tonight.
You never know. It just takes one game, and that's like I said, even during the Celtics Miami series, it just takes one game.
One game at a time.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Can't wait. That game should be starting relatively soon. Actually, you got it right here. The game will be starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, so they'll be starting in about 7
to 10 minutes.
7 to 10 minutes, puck drop. So go to TNT, True TV, whatever you got, check it out. Some other NHL news notes, and there is a lot today. One of the biggest ones is Peter Laviolette has been hired as the new head coach of the New York Rangers today. He's a 50-year-old. He was he is the winningest U.S. born coach in NHL history. Held the same position with the Capitals the past 3 seasons. So it looks like a great hire for the Rangers.
Oh yeah, very interesting choice there.
Yeah. Derek Ryan has signed a 2-year, $1.8 million contract with the Edmonton Oilers with an average annual value of $900,000 a year. He was scheduled to be an unrestricted free agent on July 1st, but the Oilers had decided to keep him around for 2 more years. So, the Ottawa Senators, have agreed into a purchase with an entity controlled by Michael Andlauer through the Melnick estate, which is ran by Anna Olivia, who are the daughters of the late Eugene Melnick. He will retain a 10% interest through the estate, while Michael Andlauer and his entity will control 90% and operational control of the team. So that's, and this news note hits right at home. Obviously, the Flyers have a new special advisor to hockey operations, none other than number 10 himself from the Chicago Blackhawks, Patrick Sharp.
Nice.
One of my favorites, Sharpie, baby. Former multi-time Stanley Cup champion, all of them with the Blackhawks. One of the greatest. Of course, he leaves now, becoming the new special advisor to hockey operations. He leaves his announcing gig with I believe NBC Sports Chicago. So now he leaves that gig to become a new hockey operations advisor. Congratulations to Sharpie. We're gonna miss your voice on our Chicago broadcast, but enjoy the new job, man, and make a lot of money and help the Flyers get another title. So congrats to Patrick Sharp on that. But yeah, there was a lot of NHL notes, surprisingly. I mean,
especially during the middle of the Stanley Cup Finals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Also, they did a mock draft today, and of course, not shockingly, Connor Bedard went number 1.
Not surprised.
Not surprised.
Yeah, obviously. But yeah, that's pretty much all the news I have on the NHL front. But don't forget to watch tonight's game. Of course, in about 10 minutes or so, puck drop. So get ready. Will the Golden Knights clinch it at home, or will the Florida Panthers push it?
Will Florida send it back to Florida for Game 6?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Let's get into some NFL news. And of course, the main NFL news I want to get into is the news that came out today, and that is that Dalvin Cook has officially been released from the Minnesota Vikings. A couple days ago, it was announced that that Minnesota was looking for trade offers for Dalvin Cook, and he wanted a significant trade package. However, they did not get that, so unfortunately, they had to make the cut and release Dalvin from his contract. It released that, and so now Dalvin is an unrestricted free agent. So, with that being said,
that just means that that now means that Alexander Madison's draft stock and fantasy stock has risen big time.
Yeah,
big time.
Definitely. And the question I have for you guys is this: is how big of a loss is that for Minnesota? And if you had it, to quote our buddy Bully Ray on Busted Open Radio, if you had the pencil, where would you have Dalvin Cook go?
So I think that this is a pretty big loss for Minnesota, considering how talented Cook is. I mean, he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can run the ball between the tackles. He can get on the outside and run with his speed. And when he turns the booster on, the jets on, he's gone. I mean, there's just no stopping him, and I really think that Buffalo, I keep going back to Buffalo because Buffalo needs a running back.
Yes, they do.
Buffalo needs a true number 1 running back. And Dalvin Cook is that guy. He is a true number 1. They need a number 1 running back. Because even though now he's gone, Singletary was not the answer. I'm sorry. I mean, I just think that Dalvin Cook is the better pick for Buffalo. I mean, Cincinnati could get him if they wanted to. Maybe Baltimore. Maybe the Dolphins. Who knows?
Yeah,
Who knows? Joey, what do you think?
I think this is definitely a huge loss for Minnesota because you cannot put your hands, or actually, you cannot put the faith in the hands of Mr. Captain Kirk, who doesn't know how to play a primetime game to save his life. So this is definitely a huge loss for Minnesota, and I could see Dalvin Cook going to Buffalo, but there is one team on my radar that I am really hoping he gets signed by, and no, it's not, the Panthers. Even though he has been sort of linked to the Panthers, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, sure.
But the one team
let's think of running back, a grade A running back like Dalvin Cook, and just put him on a team to die.
yeah, but the one team that I feel that he can make the biggest impact on is a team that already has a high-powered offense as it is. So plugging Dalvin Cook into the run game would just make the offense even more explosive. And the team that I'm talking about is the Miami Dolphins. Imagine Tua at quarterback, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle over there as the two receivers, and Dalvin Cook as the running back. Bruh, you want to talk about an explosive offense? That would be a very explosive offense. So I think Miami has the best shot at getting Dalvin Cook, if they have the cap space, that is.
Yeah, I definitely agree with your sentiments. I do agree. Buffalo definitely could be a big choice for Dalvin, obviously, because if you add him along with that already lethal offense that they have, dude, that is a team born to win a championship right there. But
Yep.
You're right, Miami with Tua, Tyreek, Waddle, and Dalvin. Holy shit, that is a lethal combination of people, lethal combination of an offense that could devastate even the best defensive teams. Because you got those receivers who are explosive out in the flat. They can get out deep. They can get crossing routes. They can go anywhere you want to go on that field. Then you got Dalvin Cook, who, like you said, Steven, earlier, when he turns on those jets, when he gets the ability to run, there's no catching him. If you're lucky to even get a shoestring tackle on him, that's about it. Dalvin Cook is that much of a badass as a running back. And he's been one of my favorite players. I've chosen him before on fantasy, and I've gotten major points from him for his performances. And that's a guy that, if I can pick anybody in my draft pool at running back, usually my number 1 or 2 pick is Dalvin Cook. So
and trust me, I've played against Dalvin Cook in fantasy, and trust me, he has tore me up. I have lost games because of Dalvin Cook.
I have too, man.
I mean,
oh
gosh.
But man, I'll tell you this much: I could see Buffalo, I could see Miami, and Miami will probably be, I think, would be his best fit. To be honest, you are right. Buffalo, if they get him though. Holy shit on that too. Yeah. Imagine that high-powered arm of Josh Allen, but then you've got when you need to give him a break and they hand that ball off to Dalvin. And then you look at that, and then you've got the defense, of course, of Buffalo coming back full strength with the return of DeMar Hamlin as well.
Yes.
Dude, it's going to be fucking insane this year is going to be.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And we're just literally over 2.5 months away.
Trust me, boys. I'm getting ever so closer to getting the funds together and getting things rolling to see you all out there in North Carolina and to do the show together live. Trust me.
It's going to be amazing.
Bro.
As you know,
speaking of Josh Allen, a huge congratulations goes out to him for being named the cover athlete of the newest Madden NFL video game. Way to go, Josh Allen. The first Buffalo Bills player to ever grace the cover of Madden NFL football.
That's a very nice accomplishment, but only if he can avoid the dreaded Madden curse.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Patrick Mahomes broke the Madden curse.
Yeah, he broke it.
Yeah.
He broke it.
Yeah. another note, you want to talk about quarterbacks? You want to talk about elite quarterbacks? Let's talk about a guy named Patrick Mahomes. Not because he's in the news for any other wrong reason, but this weekend in Nashville was the CMA Country Music Festival, and he wasn't there, but Luke Combs, one of the biggest country music stars right now in the world, was in Kansas City doing a show. And he brought out Mr. Mahomes, who was a big fan of his, to shotgun a beer on stage with him.
And also, real quick, shout out our very own Ashley, who was at that very same concert in Kansas City. And she said it was a phenomenal show. And just, I mean, Luke Combs has one of the greatest voices in modern country music. I mean, just a very good voice.
I got to meet the man back in 2018. One of the nicest, laid back, down to earth dudes on the planet. I will say that much. But
Nice.
Patrick Mahomes getting a shotgun a beer with Luke Combs, and Luke Combs doing the same. I guess they're buddies. I guess they're real good buddies, and that's pretty cool. Also, another report that came out, head coach Sean McDermott was concerned because Stephon Diggs did not show up to the mandatory minicamp.
Yeah, but yet Stephon Diggs' agent said he was there. So
it's a matter of who's lying,
yeah, it's a matter of who's lying.
which is weird.
Which I can understand why his agent would say that, because his agent is probably one of the probably one of the best high profile clients in Stephon Diggs, but I kind of have to go with the head coach here in this case as the one who's telling the truth, because he's obviously going to know who's there and who's not.
You know who wasn't at a mini camp today either? Chris Jones.
Ooh,
The four-time Pro Bowl.
Interesting.
Yep.
interesting.
He's open to, they said right here, comes from Adam Schefter. Chiefs four-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle Chris Jones, who Kansas City is open to signing to a contract extension this summer, is not at the team's mandatory minicamp today.
Huh. And speaking of Kansas City, they lost one of their top defensive guys, Frank Clark, to one of their AFC West rivals, because Denver 1 year, $7.5 million deal.
Yeah. Also, Jonah Williams for the Bengals, who wasn't at the voluntary workouts, did show up to the mandatory minicamp. So that's good news for them. At least there are no issues with that.
Oh, and I happened to come across this yesterday as I was watching SportsCenter yesterday morning,
No.
and as they were talking about this storyline, I was like, I wonder why that is. But reports are going around that New York Giants running back Saquon Barkley has not signed his franchise tag and is expected to skip mandatory minicamp this week. And I was like,
wow.
I wonder why.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, wait, because y'all wanted to be idiots and give that big money contract to Danny Dimes Jones instead of giving it to the biggest profile player on your offense.
Yep.
So, mistake on y'all's part, New York. That is a mistake on y'all's part. They should have given Saquon Barkley that big money contract and let Danny freaking Dimes Jones sign that franchise tag. Because Saquon Barkley is the leader of that Giants offense, and Danny Dimes is not. I mean, this is a quarterback who freaking trips over his own legs. Who does that?
Anybody who's usually drunk after 4 beers. Especially
True.
Steven, who's a lightweight.
And I mean, and one other thing. You lead the Giants to one playoff win in the first 4 or 5 years of you being in the pros, and all of a sudden you think you deserve a big money contract? Give me a freaking break. Don't give me that nonsense. Daniel Jones has not earned anything. So what if he gave them a playoff win? It was against Captain Kirk and the Minnesota Vikings.
Daniel Jones
I
is
mean,
Daniel Jones is the one who trips on ghosts, right?
yes.
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 Well, I heard that the team is calling in Zach Bagans and the Ghost Adventures crew to come do a walkthrough to see if the place is haunted. I heard that it's actually going to be on an episode of Ghost Adventures on Travel Channel.
But yeah, Saquon Barkley he got cheated. He's the one that deserves that big money contract, not Daniel Jones. And you wonder why he hasn't signed his franchise tag, and you wonder why he's expected to skip mandatory minicamp. Well, there's your answer right there, folks. He got cheated out of a contract, and everybody knows it.
Yeah, I agree. Another news note in the world of the of NFL, of course, if it doesn't keep kicking me out, right here. Yesterday, DeAndre Hopkins left the Titans facility yesterday afternoon after spending hours with the players and staff. No deal was struck, but the meeting did go very well. He's expected to take more visits with teams, but that could, of course, always change.
Yeah, good.
Yep. Other news, the Buccaneers will wear their original creamsicle uniforms against the Detroit Lions on October 15th. This will mark the first time that Tampa Bay has worn those colors since 2012.
Now, well, what more can you say about a team that has a bust as their starting quarterback named Baker Mayfield? What more can you say?
Yeah. Best of luck. That's about it.
Best of luck, yeah.
Texans are adding a very big name to their Ring of Honor. And no, we're not talking about Ring of Honor wrestling. We're talking about the Ring of Honor in the stadium, and that is number 99 himself, J.J. Swat, will be added to the Ring of Honor at the stadium in Houston. Congratulations to J.J. on that feat. Just one of the greatest linebackers of our generation.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of linebacker, news went out earlier today that Arizona Cardinals linebacker Isaiah Simmons is going to be making a transition this year. He's going to be a defensive back this season. So that's going to be a change.
Yep.
Even though the Cardinals ain't going to amount to much, especially with Jonathan Gannon as their head coach and just a lackluster offense and a lackluster defense. So they ain't going to amount to nothing this year.
Aaron Rodgers,
No.
Aaron Rodgers, who came out of his second darkness retreat, was asked about how Zach Wilson has handled the situation he's been in this offseason. Says he's been incredible. He hasn't made my life hell every day.
Hey, it just gives Zach Wilson time to hunt more cougars.
I wonder, is Olivia Munn available still?
Nah. I was thinking about this the other day. I know the perfect cougar. I know the perfect cougar for Zach Wilson.
Who?
Vicky Guerrero.
No pun intended, but excuse me.
I would throw, if I was Zach Wilson, I would throw a 50-yard straight pass at her head. Real quick.
That would be legendary.
We were talking about basketball earlier, guys. That the Toronto Raptors are finalizing a deal to hire Memphis Grizzlies assistant Darko Rajakovic as the franchise's next head coach.
Oh, yeah. And once that deal is finalized, that means every single head coaching spot will be filled.
Interesting. Very interesting. That's just something that popped up. I don't know why Adam Schefter is sharing basketball news, but whatever.
Adam Schefter, he just wants something to talk about on Twitter. That's all it is.
By the way, speaking of, we were talking about Denver Nuggets, Denver Broncos last night. Some of the members were in attendance, including Sean Payton.
Yep.
Hey, I'm surprised. Russell Wilson wasn't in attendance to actually watch somebody who
Oh.
can pass the ball.
Yeah, he was there.
Hey,
What?
so
He wasn't
maybe-
in the kitchen cooking?
He was there with Sierra.
Maybe he could pick up some passing lessons from Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic.
He needs
Maybe.
what he needs to do is not to practice his throw. He needs to practice his 1-2 step.
Hey!
Hey!
That's how you throw the ball. You practice that 1-2 step. Not everybody 1-2 step.
Yeah.
You're about to get it off. So lame.
Oh
Who would
Lord!
have thought you would have a Sierra reference from 2004 on the sports show 19 years
Oh,
later?
come on! I got to admit that song is fucking killer. I
Yes.
admit that song is actually good.
Yes.
Right here,
Yes.
Commander's sale to Harris is nearing an approval. And that's according to Irsay. Irsay says it could be done in a month or two at the latest.
Interesting.
Bring on the new ownership and get that poison Snyder out of DC. Because we don't want him. We don't need him. Good riddance. See you later. Bye.
Yep.
And speaking of poisonous, I mean, you talk about Snyder being a poisonous to the Washington Commanders franchise, and I mean, there's another poisonous snake and still out there, and that's John Fisher for the Oakland Athletics.
And
I
John
mean,
I thought you were gonna
Cavill.
mention McDaniels.
no, well, he's also a poisonous snake too, so we'll add him to the mix as well. I mean, Josh McDaniels can't coach his way out of a paper bag.
And
if his life was on
unfortunately,
the
he has
line.
to work
And
with
not-
Tom Brady.
Yes,
not
and
to mention-
Randy, unfortunately, is a fan of that team still. So
I think that's why he left the
Yes.
show.
Yes, and Steven, not to mention another poisonous snake out there who's poisoning the team's franchises. Well, the GM of your favorite team, the Carolina Panthers, Mr. David Tepper.
I could also say the same thing with fucking Jerry Reinsdorf.
Yeah.
When it comes to the White Sox and the Bulls, fuck you. Listen, when it comes to that, I will put it as bluntly as humanly possible. No filter, uncensored. Deal with it or don't watch. Simple as that. Sorry, I got to put that out there. But in all seriousness, guys, that's all I have right now as far as NFL news. As far as that goes, I do want to get into real quick before we talk about a little Major League Baseball, which I do want to get into a little bit outside of the Fisher thing, which we are following, and hopefully HiJacker will check in with us one more time before the show comes to a close. But I definitely want to get into the biggest news coming from the world of MMA, and that is the retirement of the Lioness, Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes, after her last fight, announced that she was calling it a career. She retired not only as one of the possibly the greatest female fighter in the history of MMA and in UFC in general, but also retired as a double champion. She held the UFC featherweight and bantamweight titles at the exact same time and defended the bantamweight title the previous night. She retired as a double champion, left both belts and her gloves in the octagon. What a career! What a career she's had. And let me go over some stats real quick before you guys comment. She has 28 total professional fights. She's 23-5, with 13 of her wins coming by knockout. Yeah, she is like I said, the first woman to become a 2-division UFC champion. The third fighter to hold UFC titles in 2 weight classes consecutively, or simultaneously, actually. And the first and only fighter to defend 2 UFC titles while holding both. But yeah, she's absolutely just one of the greatest female MMA fighters of all time, without a doubt. In the list of people that she's beaten, a who's who of women.
Oh yes.
Oh,
You take a look
yeah.
at the roster going all the way back. Some of these women, she's beaten Alexis Davis. She's beaten just Jermaine Radami, Kat Zingano. She lost to her, but fought her. She beat Shayna Baszler. She beat the Queen of Spades.
And she beat Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey, Valentina Shevchenko, Misha Tate. Raquel Pennant,
Chris Cyborg.
Chris Cyborg Santos, Holly Holm, Felicia Spencer, Juliana Pena, and her last opponent, Irene Aldana.
Yeah, just a who's who of women she's gone through. Either she's beaten them or or tough competition she's lost to. I mean, she's a great champion and just one of the most badasses women walking this planet that was tough as hell, tough as nails, and just, she was the complete package. I mean, just the way she fought, she was very aggressive and very, very, strategic in her fighting, the way she approached fights. And, when she would get her grappling game going, she would do that. And then when she would want to stand up and do hand-to-hand combat, just like she could stand up and fight on her feet, very well, just as much as she could on the ground, with the ground and pound game and stuff like that. Just like she was just one of the most deadliest fighters to ever step foot in an octagon. And I mean, her legacy will live on forever. I mean, even in wins or losses, she has bowed gracefully as a champion. And she will be one day, she will be in the Hall of Fame. Mark it.
Oh, no doubt.
Mark it down.
No doubt.
Dominant.
No doubt. She would definitely be a Hall of Famer. I mean, Amanda Nunes was an absolute fighter. I mean, she knew what she wanted. She knew what she had to do it, and she went out and did it.
The fight that did it for me, real quick, the fight that did it for me was the fight against Ronda in 2016 at the end of December, when she absolutely just dominated Ronda. I mean, you thought Holly Holm in 2015 at UFC 293 took her to school? Oh no. No. Or 193, excuse me.
I was gonna say 193.
193, excuse me. Yeah, 193 in Australia. Holly took her to school in that fight, just kickboxed her to death, punched her to death, and she hit those punches very well with the oblique kick that was so deadly against Ronda, and just exposed her, for her on her feet combat, type of MMA fighting at UFC 193 in 2015 in November of that year. But then fast forward the next year, I believe it was 207 when she fought Amanda. Yes, it was 207. And just the Lioness absolutely exposed Ronda even more, to the point where Ronda just stopped fighting in general, and quit MMA and went straight to WWE, obviously a year and a half later, and at the Rumble in Philadelphia in 2018. But Amanda continued the fight, and she was the most complete package, on that women's roster. I mean, she was the most believable, badass woman people were scared to fight her. Like, the minute she stepped foot in that octagon, you knew you were in for the fight of your life. I mean, she didn't care who you were, how tall you were, how small you were. She was going to out-fight you, out-grapple you in every facet of MMA fighting. I mean, just so glad to have witnessed her fights, over the years, and she will leave a legacy that will live on forever.
Absolutely. I mean, Amanda Nunes, she knew what she had to do. She goes out as one of the best fighters in UFC women's history, and she is a part of an elite class that features Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler, Shevchenko, Miesha Tate, Jessica Andrade, Chris Cyborg. I mean, the list can go on and on and on for amazing UFC women fighters. So Amanda Nunes retiring truly at the top of her class, as far as it comes to UFC fighting, just a phenomenal career. No one could kick ass better than Amanda Nunes.
And this is another thing, too, I'll add to as well. She knows that her time in the octagon is not long. She knows that if I'm going to go out on my own sword, I might as well do it while I'm on top of my game, and doing it the way she did it. I mean, that is a true sign of a warrior right there, to know that, hey, I can't stay long for the party. I don't want to overstay my welcome, and she knows that, that her time, in fighting isn't permanent, and she has to leave at some point, and and the way that she left the octagon, with the gloves and, in there and the belts. I mean, that's a hell of a statement right there, and
Yeah.
just bowing out gracefully on top of her game and just being the baddest woman on the planet. Sorry, Rhonda, but Amanda is the baddest woman on the planet because she was the complete package. I mean, her and Misha Tate went back and forth. Shevchenko, who had a dominant run as champion until Alexa Grasso beat her, for the belt. I mean, and then obviously that fight against Juliana Pena, that fight could have gone either way in 21. It could have gone either way, but Juliana was just better that night and she was more aggressive. And Amanda said even after that fight, look, like hats off to her. She had a game plan, everything that I threw at her, she had it planned and scouted out very well. And, and she deserves the championship, and just, my goodness. I mean, just that right there that night showed me that even in defeat, she is still the best because she knows. And we all know in every sport, I mean, football, basketball, hockey, baseball, athletes come prepared. They try to prepare every single game, every single fight, and all that stuff. And sometimes, no, it's a guarantee. Every time, in every game, every fight, the other opponent is going to be better than you. But the question is, who's it going to be, you or them? And the fact that she was able to bow out gracefully, even in defeat against Pena at the end of 21, that was just an incredible fight. And it could have gone either way. But Amanda said, I'm going to get back. I'm going to get back to, my winning ways. And hey, she did. When then fast forward, to this past weekend, and she goes out on top, and her legacy is set in stone forever.
Absolutely. And I know we don't really talk a lot of boxing on here, but I do want to point out that Teofimo Lopez is also calling it a career after winning or after becoming a double belt title holder after his win over Josh Taylor this past weekend. So he's calling it a career at the age of 25. So this was still a young gun who might have had a couple more years of boxing left in him, but he's ready to call it a career and become a family man. So
You talk boxing. Boxing.
Shout out to Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah, you talk about boxing there, Joey. One thing I forgot to mention in the world of combat sports is the return of Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner came in and had a unanimous decision battle against William Hutchinson, who had not lost in 7 years, but Broner overwhelmed him from start to finish and just absolutely took him out. Won the unanimous decision. Just an overall big fight for him. So he's back in the mix, and especially after that loss to Tyson Fury, he definitely needed to bounce back.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he looked in great shape. It was throwing great shots, body shots, combos up to the head, doing a great job. So definitely want to say that. Back to Amanda Nunes. One final fact is that she won 14 out of her last 15 fights. So
wow.
Wanted to mention that too. The next big UFC event, UFC 290, which will take place July 8th. And before I go on with this, I just want to let everybody know here on our Nation Sports Show that we will not be hosting a show on July 4th. July 4th, it falls on a Tuesday this year. So we will not be doing our Nation Sports Show on July 4th this year. Obviously, for everybody to celebrate Independence Day with their loved ones. Because I know a lot of us will be busy with family things that day.
Yes, we will.
Including myself.
Yes, we will.
And the day before, I will be celebrating my birthday on July 3rd as well. So
nice.
I'll celebrate it 2 days in a row. Mainly the 4th because I'll be off work more than likely. So, but
nice.
But we will not be hosting a show. I don't know if we'll be moving it to Wednesday or not. That's going to be up to everybody's schedules, and we will let you know as soon as we get more information. Keep an eye on our socials for that. All right.
I do want to point out real quick. I just saw this. Just posted about 8 minutes ago. Florida Panthers player Matthew Tkachuk is not playing in tonight's Game 5.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that could be a little bit costly for the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, that could be.
Next week.
Not a good sign for them already, but then again, they've gotten this far with him not being there, so we'll see what happens. You can only hope. Let's get into some Major League Baseball. Now that the world of MMA and boxing has been covered somewhat, this is of course where Joey thrives. This is his baby. And speaking of his baby, man, what a heartbreaking loss today, man. 6-5 to the Detroit Tigers in 10 innings.
It's okay. I mean, you can't win them all. It's a game. It's a game of baseball where no lead is safe. No lead is safe. But
Yep.
I was actually just told big breaking news just a few seconds ago by my wife, who's actually watching NXT right now.
Okay.
Next week on NXT, it's going to be Braun Breaker going one-on-one against Seth freaking Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship on NXT next week.
As expected.
I was like, oh my word!
Still, it's gonna be a hell of a match, man. Can't wait for that.
Heck yeah! I mean that's gonna be a future main roster rivalry.
That's and that's a test right there for Braun too, as he's
Oh
taking
yeah.
on well-established talent. So this is gonna be great.
But yeah, even though we lost that game last night, I mean, I'm still liking what the Braves are doing. I mean, we became the first National League team to reach the 40 win mark in the season just a couple nights ago. So yeah, I'm excited about my Atlanta Braves. I mean, we may have lost some key players, especially Dansby Swanson, in the offseason, but we're rebounding. We're playing good baseball. We have good pitching. So, I mean, what more can I say? I mean, we're just a dominant force right now.
Yeah,
And I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Yeah, 40-26 record right now in the league. Other scores final right here in 10 innings. The Colorado Rockies beat the Boston Red Sox. These are yesterday's scores. What the hell am I reading? These are yesterday's scores. What the hell? Okay, here we go. June 13th. We got Toronto. Toronto right now is losing to Baltimore 8-2 in the bottom of the fourth.
Oh gosh.
Man.
Oh golly.
The Rockies are beating the Red Sox, or actually, here we go. Yeah, the Rockies are beating the Red Sox right now, 4-2. The Subway Series officially starts tonight and has started already. The Yankees are up on the Mets 6-5 in the fourth right now.
Ooh.
Good
Feels-
Lord, talk about a
Neil's
game.
happy.
Lord.
Neil's happy. Elder is not.
Talk about a game of offense. I mean, 11 runs already in the fourth inning. Sheesh.
Yeah, man, it's insane. Let's see. Back to what I was doing here. Yeah, we got the Milwaukee Brewers up 3-1 against the Minnesota Twins. We've got Texans and the Angels, or Rangers and Angels, tied at 0. You got the Bengals. You got not Bengals. I keep saying Cincinnati. What the fuck? Cincinnati Reds and the Kansas City Royals are tied at 1 apiece in the top of the second. And it's 0-0 between the Nationals and the Astros in the middle of the second. Atlanta, Detroit, and Pittsburgh and Chicago are both on rain delays. Cleveland and San Diego Padres start tonight at 9:40 Eastern. The A's in Tampa Bay, which of course HiJacker Mike and Cruz you saw earlier, with the Fisher out movement, will be tonight at 8:05 p.m. Eastern. Or actually, no, at 9:40 p.m. Eastern. Sorry, same time for Philly and for the Phillies and the Diamondbacks. Same time for the for the Marlins and the Kraken, or not Kraken, the fucking Mariners. And then the White Sox take on the Dodgers at 10 p.m. Eastern. So there's your slate of games for tonight in the world of Major League Baseball. Let's see here. All-Star ballot standings. Here we go. All-Star ballot standings as of June for phase 1 of the fan voting. Leading catchers right now is Sean Murphy with over 603,000 votes.
Sean Murphy, that's a Brave.
Yep. The next one down is Will Smith for the Dodgers. And no, he did not slap Chris Rock. Keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth.
Wow.
He's got 419,000 votes, so a 200,000 vote difference. Elias
Wow.
Rockies is down.
Are you sure he didn't slap Chris Rock?
If he did, he probably wouldn't be in baseball right now.
True.
Freddie Freeman leads first baseman right now with over 250,000 votes.
No surprise there.
Not surprised.
Followed the top 5 right now is Freddie Freeman, Pete Alonso, Matt Olson, Paul Goldschmidt, and Trey Mancini. Second
Not
baseman.
bad.
Not bad.
Yep.
Not bad.
Second baseman, Luis Arias, Ozzy Albies, Nolan Gorman, Miguel Vargas, and Jeff McNeil. That's your top 5 and second baseman.
Ozzy Albies. Let's go.
Yep. Third baseman, Nolan Arenado of the Cards, Austin Riley of the Braves, Max Muncy of the Dodgers, J.D. Davis of the Giants, and of course Manny Machado.
Oh yeah, Austin Riley. Keep it up, boy. Let's go.
Yep. Shortstops, Orlando Arcia leads the voting on that. Francisco Lindor, Xander Bogaerts, Matt McLean, and Dansby Swanson of the Cubs.
Nice.
Designated hitters, JD Martinez, Bryce Harper, Travis Denard, Jorge Soler, and Christopher Morel.
Oh wow, Travis Darno as a DH. Hey, I'll take it.
Nice.
Several of your Braves, several of my Cubs, or not my Cubs, but the team I will support whenever my team sucks, which is right now. I'm not one of those.
Yeah, they're still under 500, but they're playing a lot better lately.
Yeah. I'm just giving them shit. Look, I'm just giving them shit. Look, I'm planning on attending a White Sox game here soon. I'm just looking at ticket prices. Actually, I'm hoping to attend a game here relatively soon. I haven't gone to one since Derek Jeter's retirement tour.
Oh wow!
But unlike other retirement tours, it actually ended. Take that, Kiss.
Motley Crue.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We're going on a retirement tour, but hey, we're gonna add 10 more shows at the end of it. Yes, we can. We need to make as much more money as humanly possible.
Wow.
But let's see. Real quick here. Other things. Latest news. I don't really see much of anything. You got anything, Joey?
I can't think of anything or can't see anything.
Well, news just came. I don't know how long this has been out today, but the Nevada Senate has passed a bill, $380 million for the Athletics move to Vegas.
But that's gonna be $380 million wasted.
And at their days of just going back and forth on the ordeal, 13-8 was in favor of the project. And I mean, just this is John Fisher being greedy as all get out, and the NFL has the Raiders and the NHL has the Golden Knights. Oh, that means baseball needs the Athletics. No, Vegas isn't suffering for anything. They have multiple venues, for concerts and gambling spots. They're not suffering for money. I mean, this team has been in there 50 plus years in Oakland. And, if this, the 42, everybody obviously has the majority vote has to agree. And then if that happens, obviously, then the process could start, but at the same time, right now in California, HiJacker, along with his buddies down there, they're boycotting John Fisher and Dave Cavill. And I mean, we here on this sports show, we absolutely support what Mike, what Gabriel, what Hal, what Boss, and what every single Oakland A's fan is doing right now down there at that stadium. We support the battle that these Oakland A's fans have gathered over 26,000 tickets. That's insane.
And more people walking up. And you got to think about this. It's not even just about the sale. It's about the condition of the stadium. It's about overpriced food. It's about a little bit of everything. Look what's going on with that stadium. That stadium, HiJacker has said, it is falling apart at the seams. That stadium's been around forever, yes, but it's falling apart at the seams. The food is overpriced. There's a lot of things wrong, and a lot of it has to do with John Fisher and the ownership. That is why they want them gone.
They want what the Athletics fans want is they want this team to be keeping them in California, but move to a different stadium, and that's what we want as well.
Yeah,
but that's not what John Fisher wants.
No, John Fisher wants to relocate the team because of the market. Look, Vegas is not a market for sports.
No, absolutely not.
You're lucky they get the Golden Knights right now in right now, one win away from a freaking Stanley Cup. They're lucky they got the Raiders, who unfortunately are a hot, big ass garbage fire because of Josh McDaniels and his bullshit. And then whatever else they decide to throw into Vegas. I mean, come on. It is not a hot spot for sports. It is a hot spot for only a few things: entertainment, gambling, music. That is exactly what it is.
They are not suffering. I mean, you can go to the stadium and watch a concert. You can go to the multiple arenas and the amphitheaters that they have. The little clubs, the casinos. I mean, everywhere. It's insane. Like,
you don't need a football. You don't need a freaking baseball team in Las Vegas.
Let's be honest. Who in the hell is going to go to a baseball game, on the weekend when you can go in Vegas to gamble, the concerts, exploring, the scene, and just touring the city and all of that stuff? I mean, nobody in their right mind, even if this team is doing okay, they're still not going to spend their money on a ticket that is going to be overpriced, triple, double, quadruple the price. And more than likely, probably the food is going to be triple the cost as well because of where it's going to be at. Oh, it's in Vegas. I mean, come on. I mean, this is just utterly ridiculous. This move on is based off of money, and it's bullshit, and it needs to stop. And I hope and I pray that these Athletics fans can convince John Fisher's greedy ass, along with Dave Cavill, to have some common sense in their brain stems, to sell the team to somebody in the state of California and keep the team in the Bay, because that's the last thing that Oakland needs is another team leaving the city of Oakland. I mean, yeah, sure, the Golden State Warriors are in San Francisco, but they were in Oakland all of those years. You had the Raiders in Oakland all of those years. You've had the A's in Oakland all these years. You had three teams in the same city that were bringing fans to the games. And like Hal said, like Boss said, like, Gabriel, like Mike said last week on the show, it didn't matter if the team was sucking. You still showed up to that game to hang out with your brothers and your sisters as one, to support a team that you love and to hang out with good people and make memories. I mean, that's what you love as a sports fan, is to go to these events, and just see the people, see your people.
See, Steven, that's where you're wrong. I don't do that. I go to sports events and get fucking drunk and go fight people in the stands. I'm like an Irishman on a Thursday in the pub, fella.
Wow. Yeah, but I hope that they have some common sense in their brains, and they don't. I mean, they don't. All they see is green. All they see is money, and that's all they care about is money, and that's what they want to do, is to get rid of this team because just because the stadium looks like absolute trash, that means we must sell the team to another city. No, that's not the way this works.
No.
I mean, look at all the bad teams in sports. I mean, in the NBA, the NFL, baseball, hockey. Do you see these teams selling their teams the majority of the times? No, not all the times, because throughout the good, the bad, and the ugly, you're still going to have fans supporting their teams. And just this, I really, unfortunately, I think the move is going to happen to Vegas. It's bullshit, but we can always hope that something will come out of this. That the petitions, the tweets that Mike and everybody out there in Oakland, in California have been promoting, and putting out there. I mean, it's just insane. Like tonight in Oakland, they're not there for the game. They're there for their team, as far as keeping them there, because that's the last thing they need, is to suffer without another team in their city. Because Mike has said numerous of times on this show, in private conversations on Zoom multiple times, if this move happens to Vegas, he's done with them, and rightly so, because that's the last thing he needs, is to have another team leave his city, and he ain't going to jump over there to Vegas, and support them. He didn't do it to the Raiders. Why would he to the Athletics? He's not. And the sad part about it is, Joey, now this as a Braves fan, that your team for the most part has kept its core players. There have been some people that have come and gone, obviously. That happens in sports. But John Fisher does not care about this team to keep the core players around. He just, I'm very fearful for these guys, because I don't want these guys to be dealt away. Because when you start building, chemistry together with your teammates, and then your owner says, I see money in my way, I'll take the money over your playing status and what you bring to the team, and I'll give you away. Goodbye. He just doesn't care about keeping the team together.
No, he doesn't. And money is one of the most greedy things that any sports owner, any sports GM could ever ask for. And it's just like that old saying goes, money can be a good thing, but money does not buy happiness. And in this case, it is not buying happiness for them Oakland Athletics fans who are standing together in support of keeping their beloved baseball team in Oakland. Because like you said, Stephen, the last thing the city of Oakland needs is to lose another professional team to Vegas. Not that it would happen anytime soon, but imagine, seeing as how the Golden State Warriors play their games in Oakland, California, imagine if they were to get moved to Vegas. Imagine how much of a deal breaker, how much heartbreak that would cause for all the Golden State Warriors fans out there.
Even though they play their games in San Francisco, it's still in the Bay Area, but it's not in Oakland. But
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. But even when they moved to San Francisco, it was a very expensive arena. The Chase Center is not an easy ticket to get, for these games. I mean, and now part of that is due to the success that Golden State has had, winning championships and stuff. But also that's just the prices that they're setting and stuff. I mean, and you can't expect people on a Monday night, a Tuesday night, to fork out that kind of money to go to a sporting event when yet you can sit there in your own comfort of your own home and watch the same game and not having to go through all the expenses of having to travel, especially traveling, because flights are enormous right now with the prices and stuff, and obviously if you live out there, it's dealing with the traffic, getting there to and from the arena, there and from the baseball stadium and stuff. I mean, I hope that, could you honestly imagine, let's just say if the Golden State Warriors owners decided to get rid of their team to Vegas, that would be the biggest, greediest move in basketball in God knows how long. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but you never know. I mean, you never know in sports, what can happen, and that's the one thing that I fear is that, when it comes to the A situation, I mean, honestly, dude, if I'm the Athletics players, I'm honestly questioning myself. Like, what is the point of getting, on a plane to play with this team? Not because we don't want to be with the team. It's because of the owner. It's because of the president who has lied to all of the fans, like Mike, like Hal, like Boss, like Gabriel, that have sat with John, that have sat with Dave in private meetings, telling the owner, telling the president how much they love their team. And we hope that you keep this team in Oakland or in California forever. And they said they would, and they've absolutely bold-faced lied. I mean, you see money in front of you, and that's what changes their perception of keeping this team in California. I mean, it is just...
Absolutely. And it just sickens me with the fact that everybody thinks that money can get you everything. I mean, yes, money can get you some things, but if you don't include happiness in that, then what's the point of even having money in the world? Because, I mean, money and power are like two of the most greedy things that a sports owner, a sports GM, a sports president could ever have. And like you said, Stephen, with the fact that John Fisher and Dave Cavill just keep lying to this fan base saying, oh yeah, we're going to keep this team in Oakland for years to come. Ain't nothing going to drive us out of Oakland. And then all of a sudden, ooh, look at all that money, and they just want us to move to Vegas? Pack your bags, folks. We're heading to Vegas. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, it's disheartening, it's sickening, and it's just downright pathetic. It's downright pathetic.
It's mind-boggling. I mean, you can throw the record books out the door. I mean, at this point, nobody gives a damn about their record. I mean, yeah, their record is it's the worst record in major leagues, since the early to mid 1900s. I mean, it's putrid. The record, it's bad. But what's worse than that, it's the ownership. It's the leadership, not by the players, but by the owners themselves. And it's remarkable when you think about the run that Oakland had 5-6 years ago, having all of those great acquisitions on their team. They were a couple of wins away, or especially in the wild card rounds, whenever having those wild card games. I mean, Oakland in 18 and 19 had great teams, and they still lost in the dreaded wild card game. 90+ wins each year. Great seasons in the regular season. The wild card game, knocking them out. And then that was the slow downfall of the A's by Fisher. Because, I mean, he has $1 billion. He's a billionaire. Who knows how much money John Fisher has in his pocket? You're a billionaire. What in God's name are you going to do with that money when you pass away? Not a damn thing. You can't take it with you. And you have all of this money to keep this team, afloat, to keep the city believing in this team that we can make some moves. I mean, if the stadium is falling apart, fix the shit. Put it back together. If you have to relocate, okay, fine. In California, it's a big-ass state. There's so many spots to put another stadium in California. It's ridiculous. I mean,
absolutely.
I cannot. I mean, because Mike has been screaming from the rooftops since last year. In the last couple of years, they've been trading away all their great players, and at that point, you're like, what's the point? What's the point of caring about a team when our owners don't care? What's the point of playing for a team when obviously your owners don't give a damn about you or about your team? All they care about is money. Money.
Yep.
Money.
Yep.
All right.
But a quick little score update here. 4:08 to go here in the first period. Florida 0, Vegas Golden Knights 2.
Ooh, that right there.
Right out the gate.
Right out the gate. And that's the hardest part about hockey is once you get a lead, it's hard to get rid of that lead at times. It all depends on, you can get your shots, going early on, I mean, the game is not over, but it's not looking good for Florida right now. I mean,
no, it is not.
The Golden Knights are at home at the T-Mobile Arena, and they are looking to close the door on the Cinderella story that is the Florida Panthers. And let's call it right now. I mean, the Florida Panthers have had one of the most remarkable runs in North American sports history. I mean, demolishing the great season that the Boston Bruins had this year, 60-plus wins this year, breaking all these scoring records, and that did not amount to nothing because the Panthers were down in a hole 3-1, and the Panthers came back, Game 7 on the floor, on the road, on Boston's home floor, and they absolutely beat them in overtime. And just, again, it's been a hell of a run. You beat the Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference Finals. You beat the Rangers, and now you're on the verge. You're down 2-1. You're not doing 2-0. But this is hockey. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. And before we get off the air, something that is going to happen this Saturday in Chicago is a little something called AEW Collision. And it's the return of one CM Punk to All Elite Wrestling.
Yep, absolutely.
That building in Chicago is going to be absolutely electrifying. When that music hits that PA system, the pop is going to be just as loud as it was when he made his triumphant return to professional wrestling on August 13th, 2021. And or August 20th, excuse me, 2021. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens this Saturday in Chicago with Punk's return and what he's got to say. And and our very own Ezra will be in the building. You will be there, bro. And it should be something special.
I'm excited, man. It's going to be a great time as always. United States is going to be rocking, not just for CM Punk, but man, I can't wait to see the whole Collision card as it comes up. We know that Miro is set to be back. We know Thunder Rosa is going to be a feature part of it. We know a lot of Samoa Joe. I mean, it's going to be awesome to see. And of course, also don't forget on June 21st, AEW Dynamite live at the Wintrust Arena. The last Dynamite and Rampage taping before Forbidden Door on the 25th at the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Canada. So who knows what's going to happen at that show. any members of the New Japan roster could show up. We could see anybody from the world champ Sonata to Will Ospreay to El Desperado to freaking Suzuki Okada. We don't even know the full extent of the card. We only have 2 matches signed at this point. So I'm excited. June 21st is going to be awesome. Again, I can't wait to be there. I'm happy and blessed to go to another AEW event. Let's rock and roll, guys. But let's close it out with our final thoughts today as we're creeping towards the 9 p.m. Eastern hour. Joey, your thoughts, my brother.
Once again, another great show with you guys. Awesome job talking about the NBA Finals, and I loved us going back to talking about the Oakland Athletics and the fan base and the 2 biggest liars in the history of sports right now being Jim Fisher and Dave Cavill. I hope they get what's coming to them, and I hope the Oakland A's can remain a baseball team in Oakland. So, but yeah, once again, another great show with you guys. It's awesome being back full time. Enjoy the sports, enjoy the rest of the hockey, enjoy baseball, no matter wherever you are. And we're just counting down the days till football season gets here.
Absolutely,
Peace
brother.
out.
Yep. Absolutely, brother. Steven, you close it out the way you know how.
Well, I tell you what, guys, it's been a phenomenal show talking about a little bit of everything, from the NBA to the NFL, UFC, NHL, MLB.
Boxing.
I mean, just boxing, a lot going on, and we're just that close to NFL season starting and the preseason starting in August. I mean, it's going to be awesome. And again, like Ezra said, during this part of the hour of the show, we will not be live on the 4th of July. With it being the holiday, and it also falls on a Tuesday, and we will be spending time with our loved ones and family and friends. And if we decide to do a show the next day, we'll keep your eyes and your ears, peeled on the sports show social media platforms. And again, had a great time with you guys tonight talking about the world of sports. And once again, congratulations to the new NBA champions of 2022-23. The Denver Nuggets, and this team looks to be a force to be reckoned with, for years and years to come. And Nikola Jokic being the Finals MVP and the first center to win Finals MVP, if I'm not mistaken, since Dirk Nowitzki did that in 2011, and first big man to do it since then. And again, congratulations to the Joker, to Jamal Murray, and the rest of Denver for getting this championship. And congratulations to the Linus Amanda Nunez for not only winning her final fight, but for retiring at the top of the mountain as a double UFC champion this past Saturday night. And just hell of a career, hell of a champion, hell of a woman. And most of all, again, like I said, sorry, Rhonda, sorry, but not sorry, the baddest woman on the planet. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at ON_sports show. Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show. And we are live on Tuesday nights most of the time. YouTube.com/Nation Sports Show. And also don't forget to follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner. And everywhere else on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, it is at the Nation's Corner. And check out the Corner Crew this Saturday night as they will be talking about all things professional wrestling, AEW, Impact, WWE, and obviously previewing the first edition in Chicago, AEW Collision, happening this Saturday with the second coming of the one, the only CM Punk, and his first match in All Elite Wrestling since his match against Shawn Moxley at All Out in 22 in Chicago for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, as he will be a part of a 6-man tag team match. It's going to be a hell of a fight with FTR versus Samoa Joe, Jay White, and who's the other? Drawing a blank. Who's the other participant? White.
Jay White, Samoa Joe, and Juice Robinson.
Juice Robinson, thank you.
Yes,
that's going to be a fantastic match, and just looking forward to the first edition of Collision and see what they bring on television. And Chicago is going to be rocking and rolling when Cold a personality hits that PA, and it's going to be thunderous, no pun intended. And we will be back next Tuesday to talk about all things sports and getting ready for the NBA offseason, and MLB is rocking and rolling along, and we're this close to the NFL season starting in a couple of months. And with that being said, Ezra, wrap this up, my friend. And real quick, shout out to our boy HiJacker Mike coming on tonight with his pals in California, supporting all things Oakland Athletics. Go A's all day.
Yep. But real quick, Toothless Stone Cold, any final thoughts for you?
No, not really much of anything, you stupid son of a bitch. I'm just gonna go drink some more beer and hopefully find my motherfucking teeth. What?
I love that the Toothless Stone Cold thing has become a little gimmick on the show. This is
that and CD Lamb, not CD in the ball.
CD Lamb can't CD ball. That is still the greatest line on the sports show's history.
Shout out to Kevin Roy for that one.
Yes, absolutely.
And hey, Kevin couldn't be on with us this week. He's battling an illness and not feeling good, and hopefully he'll be on next week with us talking about his thoughts on the NBA Finals and all things sports.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you guys for all your input. Joey, Steven, thank you guys so much. As always, thank you to everybody who watches this video. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Don't forget to do all that and follow us on all of our socials, which will be listed in this video and in the intro, or outro, I mean. Don't forget to do all that. And, of course, follow 2 Sweet Cosplay, Nation's Corner, all the stuff we mentioned in the beginning. So, with that being said, for Stephen Wyand, for Joey Thornton, and to our boys in spirit tonight, Kevin Rory, and Randy Gyron, I am Ezra Vickery, and we will see you right here next week with another great edition of our Nation's Sports Show. Take care, everybody. Have a great week and enjoy the sports. And I will see you all next Tuesday, as always. Peace out. Have a great day, everybody.